to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Behold the Metatron, herald of the Almighty and voice of the one true God.
Get the fuck out of here! Now!
Or you do what exactly? Hit me with that fish.
Quillig. By Grabthar's hammer, by the sons of Morvan, you shall be avenged.
Hello. You've reached Alan Rickman at 555-0122. Please leave a message at the beep. Hello, Alan Rickman. It's Alan Rickman. Reminding you to move the pork chops from the freezer to the refrigerator so they defrost properly. Do not disappoint me. Alan, it's me again. Remember that turtle joke for the party?
Yeah, it's just a coincidence that you were talking about the Jack and Triumph show, and I'm here. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith. The guy who makes all those unlistenable podcasts over at smodcast.com, and you're listening to the Two Strangers, One Podcast. This is podcasting.
You're listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net. Now, here's Chris Cologne and Paul Pasquillo.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And somehow, Rochester, who's known for getting lots and lots of snow, somehow we've just avoided the Snowpocalypse 2016.
Thank God.
2 to 3 feet of snow hitting the northern, eastern United States. You know, New York City got pretty hard. I mean, I have a lot of friends in New York City that got...
They got it pretty hard.
Yeah, they got it pretty hard. 25 inches. That is pretty hard. 25. If you had to take, I don't know. I don't know if I would take 25 inches pretty hard. You can't take 25.
Wait.
You can't take 25 inches easy. But,
Jarrell could. Oh shit! Shots fired.
But yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen friends of mine posting videos on Facebook and stuff like that, just trying to dig out their car. You know, luckily, usually we get what's called the lake effect snow. Being right by Lake Ontario, whatever, we get all the crazy snow flurries and stuff like that. But that day when New York City's getting hit in that general area, Jersey and stuff like that, we got the day before we got like 3 inches, and now
a lot of inches, Chris.
3 inches doesn't matter. It's not the size of the ship, it's the motion of the ocean. But luckily, we did not get hit by the snowpocalypse. Okay. But it is what it is, Rochester got a little bit of snow. There's still snow. But today's like the first day where it wasn't below 32 degrees. So things are slowly melting, icicles on everything.
Yeah, it is. Well, and actually, like we had up here, up this way, northern Monroe County, we had about, let's say, it was probably about a foot of snow at least. But that was all lake effect snow over a couple days, so.
No, I was listening to a thing on the radio, and they were talking about all the deaths that were going on during the snow. I mean, obviously people shoveling, that's like the worst. I don't want to die for some dumb shit, or I don't want to die, I don't want to be on the highway and then some other asshole fucking, hydroplanes or what slides on black ice, whatever, and pushes my car in front of a truck or something like that.
Dude, that's why I avoid if it's really bad out, I will not go out.
Yeah, I'm so glad that right now, even though I hate my job, and we'll get to that in a second.
Don't we always get to that in a second?
We'll always get to that. But even though I hate my job, thank God I don't have to get on the highway to go to work because. People just cannot fucking drive in the snow. And you would think up here, especially up here, where people are used to driving in snow, it's not like it's some new shit. I get it when people freak out down south, or out in the West Coast where they're not used to getting that much snow, and they get snow and people don't know how to drive. This is fucking Rochester. People shouldn't be used to fucking driving, and I hate it. There's nothing worse than being behind someone on the highway who's fucking doing 20 miles below the speed limit. Or I can understand you're in this bad weather conditions, you can do about 10 miles under the speed limit. Even that's kind of stupid. Or at the very least, be aware of the cars that are around you. So if someone wants to fucking go, let them go. You know, I always get stuck behind the person that's taking up 2 lanes, and it fucking infuriates me. But I mean, thank goodness I get to stay. I purposefully stay off the highways. But you know,
well, I mean, like for me, for example, I have to use the highway to get to my work both ways. I have to go either 104. I go both ways. Or I have to go down.
Once again, taking 25 inches, pretty hard.
Diggity. And take like 590 to 390 and whatever. So I mean, trust me, I know how it is, but it's. You know, it's just one of those things, like, being up here where my girl is now, it's really, like, just, like, you're sitting here going, why is there so much snow? And then you go down, then I go back to my house, and I'm just like, there's no snow here. I'm just like, okay.
Just the city got hit. Well, one of the craziest things I heard about, I want to say this happened actually like in North Carolina or something like that, where a guy was stuck in a car. Another guy came and said, look, I'm going to help get you out. And it was like, it was so bad that he said, look, I'm going to call the cops. Let me call 911 to come help you.
Yeah.
And the guy that was stuck in the car freaked out. And because apparently the guy that was in the car was like a guy on the run, like a fugitive.
Yeah.
He ended up shooting the guy that was going to help him. Because he didn't want that guy to call 911 or whatever. So that's like the weirdest, like, you know, like of all the crazy things, like, okay, I kind of get dying from shoveling. I kind of get dying from in a hitting black ice or something like that. But to die because you were trying to help somebody and they freaked out and fucking shot you, you could have just said, dude, I'm good. Don't call 911. You know, you know, then there was a couple of people that died from like, they got plowed in and they were trying to run their car and then the exhaust pipe was covered or whatever. Like there was so much snow behind the car that like they died in their car from fucking like asphyxiation and shit like that. So, I mean, you know, and I've said this before, and I even did a YouTube video about it. You know, I don't want to die for some useless reason. You know what I'm saying? As a fat fuck, if I die of a heart attack, okay, that makes sense. I'm a fat fuck. You know what I'm saying? If I die eating something, you know, that's, you know, whatever. You know, I don't want to die because black ice. I don't want to die because it's shoveling or whatever the case may be. You know, I don't know. And when we had, even the other day we had snow and I'm like driving and, you know, you get the couple guys that are carrying like the shovels like, yo, you good? Yo, you good? Like, you know, like, do you need help? And they, no, I'm good. I don't need anybody to shovel anything for me.
By the way, get away from my car. I don't want you to steal anything.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking guy walking around with a shovel, walking around with a weapon. Yo,
I would look at him and be like, what are you going to do with that shovel? And I don't mean that in a sexual way. What are you going to do with that fucking shovel? Get the fuck away from me.
I'm going to give you 25 inches the hard way.
Anyway, speaking about 25 inches into a new job.
Okay, no, well, okay. So finally...
I tried to do a segue there.
Finally, well, I don't want to say finally, but, you know, after years, finally, Chris is transferring to another store. Well, I haven't officially transferred yet. And I'm still working at my old store 3 of the 5 days.
In the ghetto.
So in the ongoing story for the people who follow this podcast and go back and listen, I've been bitching about this. Now, of course, you know, I did get a raise, but that was like a union thing. Everybody got a raise.
Yeah.
So I got, you know.
Well, you got a raise because the minimum wage went up anyways.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, but we were due one the same way like this time last year I got another one. Like last year I got like a 25-cent raise and I got a 40-cent raise. You know, not like, you know, I'm breaking the fucking bank. I'm not going to be fucking making it rain in the strip club or anything like that. But,
Chris be up in there. No, make it rain. No, make it rain.
And, you know, so, I mean, yeah, did I get a raise? Yes, but not because, like, someone said, hey, Chris, you're doing such a great job. Here's a raise. No, because the union said, you know, give this fucking guy a raise or, you know. Well, I mean, everybody got a raise across the board. So, so finally, you know, as I mentioned in the last episode, the store that I was working at that got shot at, I'm going to be working there 2 nights out of the week. I'll be working overnights. And then I think as one of the guys that works there is going to go in for surgery and he's going to need recovery time. And, you know, they're anticipating. So basically, finally, I'll be slowly moving out of the ghetto. I've actually trained, like we had one of our cashiers, like I trained her to be a supervisor, and so she's, you know, she's taking to it or whatever. So like, I feel like a mentor. I feel like a teacher. Like, you know, like those movies, like when a teacher goes to the hood and teaches somebody. And you know, I mean, you know, and she's my homegirl. But you know, but I you know trained her to, you know, from watching her.
You're just like, oh my god.
Well, and she actually came. She first came to our store as a security guard, like an outside third party security guard. Like we were hiring security. And then, like, they found out that they were going to need a cashier. So then, she spoke to the boss and he hired her as a cashier. And now she's actually, like, moving on to be, like, supervisor. Like I was. Like, I mean, I am, but, she'll be filling my slot. But,
God. I guess
she'd get from behind and fill my slot.
Me and Chris haven't been around each other for a while, so.
Yeah, so, and that's, and amongst everything else, of course, this is the time of year where everyone's getting their W-2s. So I have to move. Where I'm living now, it's a tiny apartment. I need, my daughter needs a bedroom, now, she's 5, about to be 6, not about to be 6, but, we're getting to an age where she needs her own room and her own privacy and stuff like that. I mean, she's only with me 3 days out of the week. And, for the people that follow me on Facebook, I'd spoken about this, and this could kind of go into cray chicks, like I said. Jesus. And let me tell you, my baby mama is an endless fountain of fucking
Do you really want to do that in the podcast? Of
material, yeah, because it's I have to talk about it somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I don't.
Is this your podcast therapy?
It is my podcast therapy. Here we go. It's one part cray chicks, another part podcast therapy, and I'd gone into this on Facebook, and I guess I could talk about it on the podcast now. We go in for, the grandfather had custody last year. A couple months ago, they switched over to custody to, now the mother and I have shared custody where the mother has primary residence.
Right.
So I go, and so they're still taking money out of my paycheck, for child support. And I'm like, well, the situation has changed. Now stop taking fucking child support out of my paycheck. So then they go, and we go, and I didn't realize they actually needed the grandfather didn't need to be there, for the change of over to the child support. And they're like, but then the mother was there, and they're like, oh, do you have, what's your income? And she's like, oh, I work, and she does work in fast food, but she also collects welfare, public assistance. So then they go, oh, well, now instead of the money going to the grandfather, now it's going to go to the mother. When she didn't ask for child support, she didn't take me to court for child support. All of a sudden, and they're like, oh, well, when she signed up for public assistance, she signed a thing saying that if she's due child support, it'll go to the county. It'll go. And of course, I didn't say this in court, but I wanted to say, why the fuck is the government taking half my paycheck? You know what I'm saying? Like, that the government takes half my paycheck just for that kind of
well, what you have to understand, because I go through this too, is that even though you have joint custody, when whoever has the primary residence, that the child support goes there. So, for example, if I had my son at some point, I could take her to court and be like, bitch, give me my money.
Yeah. So I'm just like, look, I'm right now. It's just a waiting game. I'm just waiting for the mother to slip. I mean, it's just, I'm just fucking keeping it real. I'm waiting for her to slip, because if she slips, boom, I got custody, this and this and that. And okay, because, she plays this bullshit, like, she plays that nonsense, like, I don't need a man. Oh, but you got welfare. Oh, but you get child support.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Well, she's not really getting child support because it's all going to welfare. So.
Well, it's all going to welfare, but I mean, in the long run. So, and then plus we're getting into an argument tonight. Okay, now as we're here and we're recording in your house, my daughter is upstairs, Kelsia, your fiance or whatever. Kelsia is babysitting her because Kelsia has a daughter of her own, and we're not going to get into that, but I'm just saying is that, she's being babysat. What did you say that before we went downstairs? My daughter is doing fine. Yeah. Saying, okay, her head was a little warm. She has a little bit of a cough. We gave her Tylenol. We gave her cough syrup. Boom, boom, boom. She's up and running and tearing up the house again. She's fine. The mother's giving me all this fucking grief because, they called school. They have the mother's phone number first. So they call from school and they go, your daughter's sick. Oh, she has 101 fever. Well, the first thing I do is go pick up my daughter. I go, get it, because I have no idea what happened to the thermometer I used to have. But, I go right to, go to the store, buy a thermometer, check her out, 98.5. I'm like, well, what happened to the fucking 101 fever? So, and then I'm telling the mom, she's fine. 98.5, she's fine. There's nothing wrong. Oh, you got to take her to the emergency room. For what? To sit in the emergency room? To go to urgent care, sit in the emergency room, and for the doctor to go give her Tylenol and cough syrup and have her get some rest, and right now she's upstairs. She's playing with Kelsia's daughter. She's having a good time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes no sense. She's had plenty of water. She had plenty of juice. Luckily she didn't. I had off today from work. She slept all afternoon. Actually, so did I. So, the mom is giving me so much fucking grief over nothing. So, that'll go on to this week's segment.
That's what they do sometimes.
Cray chicks. Okay. We didn't talk about the Powerball last time, right? Not really. I mean, I kind of, what if you won the $1 point something billion, I would bring back Megas XLR. I would be the.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, it's in legal limbo, but there again, if you flash some money in
exactly. If I went to Cartoon Network and I said, "Look, let's make this happen," but I'd be head writer.
Oh, I think the lawyers would probably go, "We can bring it out of whatever that legal limbo is. Don't worry."
But everyone kind of has that, like, what would you do if you won? And they go, and then these people downplay. Well, after taxes, you're only bringing home $300 million. Really? I'd be pretty happy with $300 million. And of course, you do the, like, I'd buy, my immediate family homes and stuff like that, and I would have, and set up a college fund for my daughter. And it's like, and they go, well, what would you, and how crazy would it be? Because, the book I wrote, Double Jackpot, is about a person winning the largest jackpot in history. Like, how crazy would it have been if I won? But, I guess, like I said, like, if I won, I'd make a movie. Like, I'd want to make a movie. Like, that's like,
if I had won the jackpot, that huge jackpot, I probably would have bought a movie theater, to be honest with you. Then I wouldn't have to deal with all the shit that I have to deal with. And I would probably, honestly, I'm not even going to lie, and I will say this on this podcast, I don't give a shit. I would probably take half the management staff with me where I'm working right now.
Yeah, that's
because, you know what, like, at a certain point, you look at your boss and you go, why are you being a dickhead? Like, seriously, like, at a certain point, you just sit there and you go, how about you be nice for once and not treat everybody like shit?
Gotcha.
And by the way, how are you not being investigated by HR for the 50th time again?
Some harsh words there. No, but I want to be a movie. Movie producer doesn't sound right. Movie producer sounds like someone they just give like, oh boy. I want to like write and direct movies, and I guess they always
don't
go
write
like,
people. I'm sniffing crack.
Yeah. Well,
apparently I was sniffing crack one day.
Sniffing crack?
That's a story for off the podcast. Oh, okay. But we'll talk about that later.
Why can you is it possible to sniff crack? That shows you how bad I am about like drugs.
Not sniff crack, but
Yeah, well, I mean, snorting coke and smoking.
Coke.
You snort coke, smoke crack. But somebody said, there was some weird story in the news recently about like someone doing meth, and he said like they took pills of meth or something. I was like, is that even possible? Can you do that? I don't know. See, that's a good thing. Now, mind you, before I came to Rochester, this kind of goes into cray chicks. I never knew, like, before I went to moving up here.
Cray chicks before?
Well, no, I know cray chicks. But I love it how, like, I come up here and I've become familiar with every rehab in Rochester, every drug rehab, every hospital in Rochester. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That didn't come from the lifestyle I was living. But I'll just leave that alone. I don't want to get into that. You know what I'm saying? How do I know?
No more legal limbo for you, okay?
How do I know every fucking rehab in Rochester, every drug treatment clinic, every, not every, but like where a whole bunch of like AA meetings are being held. That was way before, not my fault, not from my actions. Right. But, so back to the Powerball. If I bought the money, and it's one of those deals where like people were like, well, Chris, if that's what your dream is, you should go and follow it. Like I would like to like write and direct movies. Like, and if I had the money, I could make my own. Like I could get my own like equipment and, write and direct a movie.
Yeah. Cameras are not that cheap.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And then what I would do is I would make it like I would do it like an actual film, like with Kodak film. Like let me support Rochester by getting Kodak film, because there's still a couple episodes back I talked about applying for the job for that company that they were going to do the medical marijuana, and I guess they haven't like I don't know, they haven't started yet, or even if they haven't contacted me, but. Not that I expect them to jump and give me a job, but you would think if everything went into effect, we would have heard about it. They would have talked about it on the news, and they haven't.
Right.
But they did have they've been giving doctors and pharmacists training on how to fill the prescriptions and how to understand what the patient's needs are to fulfill the prescriptions. So they're giving classes like that right now in Rochester. So I guess they're gearing up for the medical marijuana. But like I said, the company that I applied for working for, they're not doing it as it's not inhalable in any way, shape, or form. It's just the oil, which would be taken as a pill or taken it as some sort of like, I guess they have like lotion, like the oil as a marijuana lotion, and so that would be it's pretty nuts. But
I hope you wouldn't rub it on your nuts.
Well, your nuts are high.
You get some interesting people sniffing your nuts. That's
yeah, I got something you can puff pass.
You get the local guy on the fucking panhandling on the corner. He's like, "What you got between your legs?"
Oh, let me tell you, dude. At my job, I talk about my job because it's all I do in my life right now. So it encompasses me. This is what keeps me up at night.
It brings me together.
Dealing with fucking people. How is it that in Rochester, like, how are the cops not pulling these people over? Because I deal with people that come in reeking of marijuana. Mm-hmm. Like, no joke. Like, there's no way you had to have just been smoking weed in the car before you walked in the door of my store.
Oh, that sounds familiar. That happens at the movie theater all the time.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay. And you know what? I could almost understand people getting high before the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, that makes sense. But what how are the cops, once again, not that we follow this, not that I follow crime statistics, but how are not people getting arrested every single fucking day? Because every day I deal with people that just come in like they just hotboxed, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just, smoked a fucking, a blunt. Trust me, these people ain't smoking joints or bongs or anything. They just smoked a blunt in their car, and they just come in reeking of marijuana, and then they come in and buy beer. That's the funniest thing. Like, what else do you need? You just smoked a fucking blunt. Go home and fucking chill. Go watch fucking Three Stooges on TV or something. Relax. But just. It blows my mind the amount of people that are getting high illegally right now. I'm pretty sure in the next couple of years, New York State's probably going to turn into like a recreational marijuana state.
I don't think we're going to be with a Democratic. Well, I don't think we're going to actually end up there for a while because now we have the medical.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you have medical, and then
because what they can do with medical is like Rochester is basically the home of marijuana now. Mm-hmm. So, with us having that dispensary, the governor basically set aside money to do all that just for medical marijuana. So, for us to sit there and be like, okay, well, we're going to go to recreation, I don't think we're there yet.
You don't think? But then again, look, when they go to fucking, from what I understand, the way they do it in California, and if anybody else can attribute to this, I've heard stories where there are people who advertise on the beach. There are so many doctors out there that are so quick to just give you a marijuana prescription that you literally could just walk into any office. As long as you have the money to pay for it or the insurance plan to pay for it.
Yeah.
You just go, I got night terrors. You know what I'm saying? I got these people, and everyone's like, oh, because that's the thing they're talking about here in New York. They're like, oh, well, they're looking into it for children with seizures. And don't get me wrong, that is a noble cause, children with seizures. I get that. If I had a child that had seizures, what I'm saying, and that was a way to calm it and there was no other way to do it, okay, I get it. But this isn't about childhood. This is about guys who want to watch fucking, Scarface for the 80th time. You know what I'm saying? They want to, They want to get high and they want to watch, they want to get high and watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something like that.
And eat popcorn.
Yeah, it's not, I love how these people, all these fucking potheads always talk about, it's about, seizures.
Let me tell you something. If I get high, mm-hmm. if I even get the slightest bit of a high off of you being high, mm-hmm. then there's a problem.
Yeah, these people, they come in reeking.
I always go to this story, and I don't know if I've told this on the podcast, but I remember the first time I was at the theater that I'm working at now. When we had 35mm projectors, we could actually open up the window, and we were actually supposed to open up the window, look inside, make sure nobody was there, and then we could shut off everything. Mm-hmm. I remember opening up the theater, And as I put my head in, a wave of pot smell just came at me. And I literally put up on Facebook, I was like, I think I just got to contact him. And there was nobody in the theater.
Oh, okay. So now, would it be? Now, let me just ask: would it be people that were smoking? Were they smoking in the theater, or they were smoking like minutes before they literally put out their roach like right before they walked in the door?
I think it's sometimes both. I think that sometimes, and trust me, if somebody's smoking in the theater, we'll know about it in 2 seconds. But
yeah, because nowadays New York State, you can't smoke in any fucking building.
And plus, smoke alarms. If they're doing it above a smoke alarm, it's going to go off. But I mean, it's one of those things where you're just like, okay, like that just happened.
Remember, I grew up in pre-Giuliani New York. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And our local theater was a place called Essex Theater. And it was it wasn't part of any chain. It wasn't part of it was just locally owned. And it was about 4 or 5 blocks from my house. And Essex Theater, especially on Saturdays, they used to give like one American movie. They only had one theater. They'd give one American movie and then they'd give like a kung fu flick. You know what I'm saying? So like I remember there, once again, this is being a pre-Giuliani New York City, where my friends and I would go to the store and we'd buy 40s, drink the fucking and we'd bring the 40s into the theater, you know what I'm saying, getting drunk, and then you would go into the theater and then there were people all around you smoking marijuana. So, we'd be in the fucking movie theater getting totally fucking buzzed, you know what I'm saying? And even if we didn't buy fucking 40s, these are from corner stores that really did not give a fuck, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure all that money went to fucking Al-Qaeda eventually. But, in a pre-Giuliani New York, a teenager could go into a fucking store, buy 40s, and we'd go to Essex Theater. And like, I remember one of my particular stories where a friend and I stood in the theater. We went to go see The Crow, to show you how fucking long ago it was. We went to go see The Crow, and we ended up staying in the same theater for about 4 hours. No, was it 4 hours? No, okay, no, excuse me, like 8 hours, because he had passed out from drinking. Right. The first time we saw The Crow. Then they gave a kung fu flick, and then they gave The Crow again. He woke up during the kung fu flick. We watched The Crow, and then we sat through the kung fu flick again.
Right.
Or at least I sat through the whole. He woke up, and so I mean, I remember going to, I've been in theaters where people were smoking weed like a fucking, and the Essex Theater was such a fuck. I mean, there were rats. They would fucking, you'd feel a fucking rat run against your leg and shit like that. That always freaked you the fuck out. Or you'd be looking at the theater and see a rat run across.
Yeah, so you wouldn't right. Those are the kinds of things you won't see at any of the theaters because.
Well, corporate owned ones, yeah, they're not gonna, the corporate ones have an image, but this was, like I said, this was mom and pop, locally owned, and the last movie to play there ever was Higher Learning with, what's his face? Was it Higher? Yeah, is it Higher Learning? What's the one? Was it Spike Lee or something like that? It was one of those movies, it was kind of like a race movie or whatever, like it was a racial tension movie, with what's his face? It was one of those racially charged movies. I'm pretty sure it's Higher Learning. Not the one with Redman and, I don't know, whatever. Not the one with Redman and Meth Man. It was another one that was like, was supposed to be a serious movie.
Right.
And that, Higher Education, I think it was, or something like that. So I remember because after the theater fucking went, like the sign was still up for fucking like 2 years until they had Higher Learning on it. And now like they bought it out and converted. Now it's like now it's an old person's hospital. Because those buildings there, and it's funny, just local politics or whatever, that particular movie theater is on the same block as these buildings that the primary residents of those buildings are Jewish people.
Right.
So growing up in that neighborhood, we used to call those the Jewish buildings because they were just in Lower East Side, So, now all those older people they're old. So now there's like a little clinic on their block that's like, that was the old movie theater. They kept the marquee is still up. I mean, of course they took down anything that looks like a movie theater, but the marquee still sticks out over the street. And it's,
right,
but it's like,
yeah, there's,
healthcare or something or other.
When Calcia was living in, Leroy, we would go into Batavia all the time. And Batavia, there's this church that owns an old movie theater, and that's where their church is.
Mm-hmm.
I actually asked them one time. I was like, "How much would you actually sell that for?" Just out of curiosity. And they're like, "Oh, it would be like $1 million." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, go fuck yourself."
I'm Batavia. Nah.
Sorry.
Well, okay. No, it's funny that when you bring up Batavia, I think of Batavia Downs, the local casino. And speaking of that, this is something we were kind of talking about before the show. not far from you or I, there's a place called the Medley Center, which way before I ever moved to Rochester, it was a mall that was opened in 1990. At one point was very, very successful. Then for whatever reason, just went down to shit. Like they literally closed all the stores in the mall except for the Macy's or the Sears or whatever on one of the ends. And so the mall had become one of these defunct malls.
Well, what happened is they I'm trying to think. So if anybody that listens in Rochester knows, Grease Ridge Mall has a curfew. The movie theater there has 17 and up. The one in Gates actually has 17 and up too, and so does Movies 10, the second run theater.
Mm-hmm.
You go there all the time.
Yeah, I love Movies 10.
Face 10.
Yeah, because it's $2 movie theater.
Face 10, Facebook. So what happened was and this happened at Grease Ridge, and that's why they did that policy on Friday and Saturday nights, is because these kids would go in there and they would just cause trouble, and they would do the same thing. It would be, there was, people getting robbed and whatnot and all that kind of stuff there, and that was why it was so bad. Now, funny enough, now that the movie theater's not there, or not the movie theater, now that the mall is pretty much up and gone, it's I would say it's because of that, there's no crime or anything. But I think that if they're going to open that mall up again, and I hope they do, I think that it's going to be one of those situations where they're going to have a lot of security. Mm-hmm. And I think they should do the same policy as Grease Ridge, because that's the only way it's going to survive.
Well, okay, so the guy that bought it, he bought it for dirt cheap, right? He bought it for
$100,000.
$100,000.
But there's liens of $44 million.
Exactly. My house, when I owned my home in Jersey, my house was $155,000.
Now think about this: my parents bought their house for under $100,000.
Yeah. So, but the caveat that comes along with the mall is that there's $40 million in liens, and because the old developer did not, and I'm just
and the fucked up thing is the old developer may still get it because there's things in the contracts that. The language may say that he still has ownership of it. But there again, I don't think that's going to happen, because if the guy really, really wanted the property, he would have shown. He would have shown
some sort of sign of developing or whatever.
Right.
And he's done absolutely nothing with it. And so, but the guy who did buy it is a local developer, and hopefully we're not boring the fucking audience with this. But basically, he's a guy that opens up a lot of plazas. You know what I'm saying? Where when you go to the plaza and there's a Rite Aid and there's a Whole Foods, not up here in Rochester. You'll go and there'll be a Rite Aid and a Radio Shack and a Sprint store and a supermarket. Or up here the big ones is Tops. I would not be surprised if he tears it down and makes it into a Tops / Rite Aid / Radio Shack, whatever. The Radio Shack's not even in existence.
I understand where you're going with this, but
he's going to turn it into a strip mall. That's what
I don't think it's well. So here's the problem with that. First of all, he has to get rid of Sears, which I don't think, because Sears is really the only thing that's left on that mall, and apparently it's still doing good enough to where it's still open. So I think they probably own that building too, is what I'm thinking. So because of that, I don't think they're going to do anything. Plus, you got to remember, he doesn't own the whole mall. There's another guy that owns Macy's. He bought the Macy's property. I actually found that out. Well, we knew about that a while ago, but we didn't know if he had actually bought it. And they actually confirmed it on the news the other day. So I'm just sitting there going, okay.
Well, I cannot think of a Macy's or a Sears that's not connected to a mall. I can't remember the last time I went into a store that was just the Macy's, the building itself, or just the Sears.
Well, but, and think about this: Bonton had left the Medley Center a long time ago. Well, Irondequoit Mall, Medley Center, whatever you want to call it. I prefer Irondequoit Mall, but that's neither here nor there. But here's the thing: Bonton, for example, fucking just left the area. They're just nope, fuck Rochester, we're gonna go. And they're in Buffalo still. You can go to them in Buffalo.
Well, they weren't. I worked in the East Ridge. I worked in the Eastview Mall, This is probably so fucking fascinating for people outside Rochester.
Yeah.
But I worked in the Eastview Mall back in 2011, 2011, back when I was working for Radio Shack, because there was a Bonton right next to us, because we used to get all the husbands that are waiting for their wives to finish shopping, so they would come in and just mill around in the fucking Radio Shack, because they were bored to fucking tears. So, I mean, Bonton was still here in Rochester in like 2010, 2011. But I remember when they finally closed, I was so happy when they closed, because then I didn't have to deal with fucking, some pussy whipped fucking, 50-year-old guy that's just, milling around because his wife is spending his fucking paycheck at the Bonton.
And you can see how like fucked up that is. Like, they even closed it at Eastview. Like, you would think that if they were going to keep one open, they would have kept it.
And Eastview is the high-end mall for people outside Rochester.
Right.
Eastview that's the white people mall. It's the white people mall. Let's be.
All right, I'm going to cover myself up now.
Well, no. Well, I mean, they do.
The opinions of Christopher Cologne. Do not.
Okay. Well, no. The Eastview Mall does kind of advertise itself as the high-end mall. It's the place where you go for the high-end mall. For the the nicer store. It's the place. It's the only place in Rochester that has the Apple Store. An official Apple Store. And so, just because the reason you brought up Batavia, and we'll get to this, then we'll go to the commercial break. I still have a dream. I still have a hope in my heart that they make it a casino. I know it's not going to happen, but I'm like, casino. Let's make it a casino. I mean, of course, yes, there's a casino probably like 25 minutes out of time. And I only go there when my mom's in town, because my mom wants to go to a casino. Not that I go to casinos all the time, but I wanted it to be a casino, even though I know it's not going to happen, because, the last time they tried to build a casino down in Henrietta, they fucking... all the other local... It's funny how, like, all the other local casinos, or relatively local casinos, were the ones, like, suing and, not pretending that, oh no, we're not associated with the casino, but it was totally the local casinos saying, no, you can't open one in Rochester, because, if they knew if they opened up in Rochester, people aren't going to drive out to Batavia Downs or Finger Lakes Casino. So with this wonderful, totally exciting Rochester talk, we'll be back with more dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc., 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. Pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com.
And now for listeners of Two Strangers, One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase. And we're back. Okay, Paul. Here we go. I mean, this isn't our first episode of 2016, but holy shit. Death, 2016. The devil probably bought a lot of souls in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of celebrities didn't read the fine print and didn't realize that the devil will be coming collecting their souls in 2016. Because all these people that are dying are people that were, of fame. And at first, I'm pretty sure, there is real death in other people's lives. Sorry, I don't mean to talk about people's aunts or uncles or anything like that. But, let's talk about celebrities. Celebrity deaths in 2016 already. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to miss a couple. But what's the name of that guy from the Eagles? Because that's the only one I don't have the name of. Because...
Oh, God, you had to ask me that question. I don't know.
Well, whatever. The guy from the Eagles.
whatever.
You know, the people who listen to the show aren't exactly the biggest Eagles fans, but
exactly.
The guy from the Eagles, David Bowie, Alan Rickman, Natalie Cole. I mean, just a couple. I mean, okay, technically
Natalie Cole, one of the best R&B singers out there, in my view.
Yeah, well, and I have when Natalie Cole died, it really kind of hit my heart because it was back in 1995 that's when I graduated from high school. The theme of our prom was unforgettable because remember they had her doing duets with her dad, like they took old recordings of her dad and she sang along with them. So, you know, when Natalie Cole died, it kind of like, you know, not that I was the biggest fan of hers, but it kind of hit me in the chest. I'm like, you know, because my prom theme was unforgettable. Alan Rickman, you know, of course, the guy's an incredible actor, but I know him best from, you know, Dogma as the voice of God, the Metatron.
Yes.
And Galaxy Quest, you know.
Well, wait. Everybody knows him.
Well, I mean, of course, and I'm sorry. Yeah.
Everybody knows him from Harry Potter.
From Harry Potter, of course. I mean,
Harry Potter.
Harry, I loved your mother. Well, he doesn't say that.
I loved your mother.
Because Professor Snape, that's the whole reason he's such a dick to Harry Potter is because he loved Harry Potter. I mean, he loved Harry's mother back when they were growing up together, and then he kind of hated Harry Potter because Harry looked like his father. So I used to do this joke where, not a joke, but it was sort of, you know, every time I did an Alan Rickman impression, it would have him as Snape, you know, Harry, I love your mother. So
I wanted to stick it in.
You were almost mine, so your mother put me in the friend zone.
Yes.
And what a way to get back at somebody. Like, you know, I'm going to be a dick to your...
stick it in.
I wanted to give your mother 25 inches the hard way.
I wanted to give her 25 inches.
The hard way.
The hard way.
And so, you know, so...
God, we need to get some kind of life. Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean...
give it to her the hard way, shall we?
And of course, you know, Die Hard's a great movie. I'm not the biggest fan of Die Hard, but, you know, Hans Gruber... that he played the bad guy in that movie, which was his first movie. That was his first movie out of the gate. Was fucking Die Hard, you know?
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about
that. And it once again proving that
everybody's like, "What? You've seen the first Die Hard? You guys are fucking old." Well, fuck you.
I mean, look, people watch. You can watch Die Hard. Not, you know, USA Network gives it every 20 fucking minutes. So, but. I'm just saying,
really funny.
You don't have to be old to.
People are listening to this, like younger people are listening to this and being like, "Is that a porno?" Like seriously, somebody would think. I honestly like hearing Die Hard for the first time. They'd be like, "Is that a porno?" Or something?
Well, I mean, they're like. I mean, I'm pretty sure young people are familiar with like Die Hard 5 or A Good Day to Die Hard or whatever the case. Now that sounds like a porno, but you know, I mean, just the fact that, and that's further proof that. I mean, this being an old man, and I'm telling myself, like, you know, Chris, even though you're 38, you could still kind of have, still kind of, you know what I'm saying? Because Alan Rickman wasn't a spring chicken. He didn't do that movie in his 20s or anything like that. He was an older guy and still had a fucking fantastic career. You know, just the fucking horrible scourge of fucking cancer, and you know, same thing. David Bowie, cancer. Alan Rickman, cancer. Lemmy from Motorhead, even though Lemmy technically died in December. You know, cancer, these guys all dying at like 69, 70 years old. And, you know, I mean, I know like the Brits, because all three of them are like from the United Kingdom. I mean, you know, I know the Brits kind of, you know, they drink their Guinness and stuff like that. I mean, Brits aren't exactly...
You get cancer for drinking too much Guinness.
Yeah, you know, they don't... Brits aren't exactly known for their upkeep of their health, but... You know, I mean, 69 is not old. It's not old at all. And to fucking hear that these guys are passing away... You know, from fucking cancer, and you know, and especially like, you know, I'm kind of repeating something that like Kevin Smith said. Especially a guy like David Bowie. David Bowie knew he was dying for the past year and a half, and you would think a guy like that has enough money. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, you know, you would think, oh, if you have enough money, you could throw it at the problem and fucking find a way to live. No, fucking David Bowie. I don't know, maybe he just refused treatment or something like that. Or you know, I'm just saying is you would think a guy like that who has all the fucking money in the world would do what he can to fucking live. Same thing with Alan Rickman. Same thing with, I mean, Lemmy was always a hard partier. So I mean, him passing away relatively young is not that much of a surprise. David Bowie probably did tons of drugs also. Alan Rickman never was really a party guy, whatever. But it just shows you when when's your time to go. Even because Alan Rickman or David Bowie, one of them, or either both, was the pancreatic cancer, and that's the same one that killed Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs is hippy dippy. Fucking what a horrible scourge fucking cancer is. I lost a friend of mine back in 2007. 30 years old. A month after his 30th birthday, passed away of had a brain tumor. It was like the third brain tumor he got. So you would think a guy like David Bowie had all the fucking money in the world to throw at it, still fucking died. So so now we got to keep an eye on other. We got to keep an eye on Mick Jagger. We got to keep an eye on Paul McCartney. And we got to keep an eye on Tim Curry. Those are the three that pop into my head. The older gentlemen from the UK that have done had incredible careers, and we better fucking keep an eye on them in 2016 when the devil comes to collect their fucking souls. Also, another person that passed away, and this is, and I don't want to make a joke about it, whatever, is Tara Ray. Tara Ray was a porn star. She was married to Wayne Static from the band Static X, and so he had accidentally overdosed. He was actually allegedly living clean, and then the night he died, he was doing drugs. They don't know if it was he was pretending to be clean and doing drugs or whatever. He overdosed a little over a year ago, and I guess in the past year it was so hard on porn actress. No, that's a horror. I'm gonna fucking burn in hell for that. But the fact that she had
just for that.
Well, I've done plenty of things to fucking burn in hell for. Oh no, I know I've got my seat reserved in fucking hell. I know that. But actually, I've been reading. Well, I'll get to that in a second. But Tara Ray, I guess she was so obviously torn apart. But she was with a friend the night before she died. The day before, that day before she overdosed or whatever she did to kill herself. She was with a friend, and the friend said that they had no idea. I mean, obviously she was down and stuff like that, but that friend had no idea that she was going to kill herself. So, and it just kind of bothers me because I loved the band Static X, and when Wayne died, it kind of hurt me. But she was still kind of like flying the flag, like she was still kind of like. But you could tell, obviously, she was still very much in love with him. That she took the death really, really hard, and then eventually killed herself. So. I mean, it's another death, obviously not as impactful as fucking Alan Rickman or David Bowie, but,
right.
It's a shame. It's a real shame. Now, I have no life. Besides this podcast, I have no life whatsoever. I've been playing Fallout 4 like nobody's business.
Tsunami reviewed Fallout 4.
Oh, they did?
They reviewed it.
Well, remember, I'm not online or whatever.
They gave it a 4. They gave it a 4 out of 10. A 9 out of 10.
A 9 out of 10. And let me tell you, I've been so... Now, mind you, I have another game that I got for Christmas. I got Transformers Devastation that my dad bought for me. Thank you, Dad. But I've been playing Fallout, and a friend of mine on Facebook, Tananda Desmore, she had said, when I first said I'm going to... Because I had got it right around Christmas, but I said, I'm going to save it for the new year. And she goes, congratulations on your second job. Holy shit, it's playing this fucking game like a second job. For those not too familiar with the Fallout games, and this is Bethesda Studios, they've made, Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. I literally, the last time I played Fallout 3, it said I had 100 hours into playing. Like when you save it, it lets you know how many hours you've been playing. 100 hours into Fallout 3. I can't remember how many hours. The last time I checked, and this was 2-3 weeks ago, was 24 hours into playing. So at the very least, if you're going to spend $60 on a game, at least you're fucking getting your money's worth out of it. And the point of the game is you're in this game you're in Boston. In Fallout 3, you're in Washington D.C. After fucking World War III, after the bombs have dropped, and you were inside a vault. Underground. There was a company called Vault Tech, right. And they built all these vaults. So you actually went into a fallout shelter right before World War III, and World War III happens like in the year 2077. So in one of them, I think you're in there for like 30 years, and then the other one, I think Fallout 4 takes place like 200 years later because, and this isn't really spoiling anything, you were frozen. You were cryogenically frozen in the vault. Because then as you find out that the people in Vault-Tec, that as you play the game, and this isn't, once again, this isn't too much of a spoiler, when they had people in the vaults, they were fucking with them. They were doing scientific experiments. So her vault was they cryogenically froze him. You know, there's other vaults where like they were sending subliminal messages through the public address system, or there's, you know, they have vaults where they only kept the kids and they killed all the parents and, you know, keeping the kids' genetic DNA. It's a real twisted fucking game. And you know, then when you come out of the vault, you're out on the quote unquote wasteland and you're killing like, it looks like shit like Mad Max, you know, people wearing, you know, leather jackets and shoulder pads and weird armor and goggles and shit like that. And, you know, what I like about the game is that, like, you know, there's a bunch of different missions, and you're sort of, there's, you know, you join different factions. There's actual like a Minutemen, like the USA Minutemen, that they're kind of like trying to reestablish the United States. And then there's this, one of the themes that run through all these games is another faction called the Brotherhood of Steel, where you join the Brotherhood of Steel, and they kind of like, they collect technology, and they all wear these big jacked up stormtrooper outfits. So I've been playing this fucking game like it's a fucking job. It's sad that like I come home from work and I sit in front of my fucking PlayStation 4 for like another 4 hours a day. Between that and the podcast, you know, then no wonder I'm not getting fucking pussy. I'm too busy playing fucking Fallout 4 and recording podcasts. But
I got something we can talk about.
God, it's a fun game. It's a fun game.
This isn't anything game or nerd related, I should say, but. What the hell? We got some time.
Well, I mean, through the night you've been watching a lot of WWE clips on the computer and stuff like that. And I guess, you know, one of the big news, and it shows you it's so sad that I haven't watched wrestling in so long. But one of these, when I get my Wi-Fi back on, I want to have a buddy of mine on the show. He runs a wrestling show. His name is Big Ray, and you know, it's all over Facebook how tonight I guess AJ Styles.
Well, AJ Styles debuted at the Royal Rumble last night. He was number 3.
Formerly of TNA Nonstop Action. You know, finally
Ring of Honor, New Japan.
New Tokyo or New Japan? Oh, New Japan. I guess.
Yeah, New Japan Wrestling or New whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to say that AJ Styles got lucky, but he got lucky because. And for anybody that's listening to this, you're not understanding what I mean by that. This kid just got his... Well, he's not really a kid. He's been in the business for years and years and years. But this guy got his chance finally to be in the big league, so to speak, because of all these people injured. Because WWE's hurting. They're hurting bad. I mean, you got fucking Jericho wrestling. You got... fucking Triple H winning the title. I mean, when Triple H...
Is this 1999? Is this 15 years ago?
Listen to me. When one of the actual executives, that obviously he was a wrestler before, but when one of the executives is winning the goddamn fucking title, that tells you that fucking WWE's in trouble. So AJ Styles came in at a good time. They got him, and I'm glad they got him because I've been wanting him to show up for a long time because I think he's definitely going to make, and from the looks of his match tonight on Raw, which fuck you, I missed because of you.
He's gonna make an impact.
Yes, he's gonna be. Actually, somebody made that on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see him because I think that's gonna be really good. I definitely see when John Cena comes back from injury, he's definitely going to be. It's definitely going to be John Cena versus AJ Styles at some point, you know, because I know damn well they used to wrestle together when they first started. So I get the feeling
that's going to be the next rivalry.
Oh, I get the feeling the minute he comes back, that's going to be a huge rivalry, and it's going to be a good match. I see them I see that being one of the best matches out there. But okay, fine, you brought AJ Styles in. Time to move Samoa Joe up. Even though Samoa Joe didn't need to be in NXT in the first place, time to move him up to the main roster. And I don't know why they hold him back, but dude, like everybody is waiting for Samoa Joe to come on the main roster. Like you're talking about two of the best fucking stars that made TNA wrestling what it is.
The two big fish in a small pond.
Exactly.
That was TNA.
And why are they not both up on Raw right now? Like it's just like, oh my god. I understand like you need to have wrestlers for NXT, and probably some of the other ones that are rumored to come are going to go to NXT first. Move up Samoa Joe. Yeah. There's no need to keep him there anymore.
Well, I mean, once again, I haven't watched wrestling in a long time. But it's always been sort of like a favorites game. You know, the ones that are on top are the ones that are the best politicians and know how to schmooze the people who are in control. So they probably, the ones that are in charge probably feel a threat by AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not about to step off their podium to fucking
right. Well, and for those that don't know, I get a lot of my news and rumors from a site called Rajah.com. It's RAJAH.com. It's a really good site, and they're about 95% right all the time about stuff happening. And I would say if the reason I follow that is because I want to find out shit immediately, like I want to know if AJ Styles is coming up or this is going to happen or whatever, because I'll hear a rumor and I'll be like, oh, I got to go here and fucking find out, But like this is big for WWE, I think, and I think once all the other wrestlers come back to the main roster that are injured, I think this is going to be a very good group of wrestlers. My only problem that I have with what's been going on where all these wrestlers have been getting injured, I think what's happened is and maybe I'm wrong and some people can disagree with me, but I think what the problem has been is that these fucking wrestlers these newer wrestlers, I should say, the younger ones, have upped the game. So now, these older wrestlers are trying to keep up with them, and then, because they're trying to keep up with them, they get injured. Yeah. And it happens. And even the younger guys, like Cesaro, for example, got injured. He's out. You got Randy Orton, who's out. Who else was out?
Didn't Roman Reigns fucking tear his ACL or something like that?
Oh yeah, he did, but that was like a year ago.
That shows how out of it I am.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. Oh God, and I'm missing him right now. I'm missing his name right now.
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan went out with injury, and we'll talk about that in a minute because that I can bitch about here in the nerdy part.
Well, what about CM? Oh no, CM Punk is doing. No. He's trying to do MMA.
I'm trying to think of the guy. He was the other part of the Shield, because it was Dean Ambrose, it was Roman Reigns, and then I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
I'll try to look it up by you.
But anyways, him coming back, he lost the title because he got injured. So him coming back would be real. It's just going to make a lot of interesting matches, and I think him and AJ Styles would do really well. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Seth Rollins. Okay. Yeah. I don't know why that fucking was just like, it was like, my mind went, nope, fuck you. So, I would say, coming up, this is going to be the best roster. One thing that a lot of people are starting to bitch about, and I think it's going to become a thing if WWE doesn't do it, Daniel Bryan, as you mentioned, and I love how we're talking about wrestling news.
What's part of the nerdiness?
He was I don't remember what kind of doctor he saw, but he saw like a high-ranking like neurosurgeon to check everything out and make sure that he could do any wrestling. And the guy cleared him for wrestling. He said, "You're fine." And it's to be fair, it's been over a year, I think, or it's at least been a year since this man has wrestled. And to be honest with you, because like it seemed like one injury after another were happening, I think that was a good move for him just to take a year at least, and not just a year, but maybe he should maybe take a year and a half and just make sure. But all these doctors have cleared him. And now he's just waiting on the WWE doctor to clear him. And this guy's like one of those NFL ones. Like we're talking about like
a legit
they don't spend
they
spend no expense for this guy. And a lot of people are starting to get pissed because they want WWE to clear Daniel Bryan so that he can come back. And honestly, with the amount of injuries that they have, I think this is the perfect time to do it. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. But I think that would be a very smart move, because if Daniel Bryan goes somewhere else, like to TNA Wrestling, because I know damn well TNA Wrestling would put fucking money down for that.
Yeah.
Or, oh God, whatever that thing that Jeff Jarrett has now, something Global Wrestling.
Oh, I don't know.
He has some like huge.
I mean, let me tell you, I've caught like Ring of Honor a couple of times, and it's not bad. Like Ring of Honor's not bad.
It's not bad.
Not fantastic, but I'll catch it like I'll leave my TV on.
Yeah, it's like
1 o'clock in the morning
Fox
on like this,
at, midnight
Fox,
or something.
Yeah. After Saturday Night Live, which Ronda Rousey was hosting this week, and
you were probably in front of the TV.
Oh yeah, fat. Because let me tell you, I mean, okay, she's not the greatest actress in the world. Obviously, she's an MMA fighter. She's not an actress, but I think she can hold a movie. I think she can be.
Well, you've talked about this
the woman, times. The female version of The Rock,
right?
Because she's easy on the eyes. They kind of dolled her up, saying this and when she did Saturday Night Live, they kind of put her in things that made her look feminine. Saying I'm okay. The one thing is she does have the broad shoulders. She has man arms. Let's be real here. But other than that, I mean, she has a fantastic body. I mean, you could kind of shoot around the man arms, or depending, or you could, put her in something that has shoulder pad. So that like will downplay how broad her shoulders are and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure if you shoot her at the right angle, she's very attractive. And don't get me wrong, I think she's hot. Can we put her in a fucking movie, please? Can we give her fucking Captain Marvel already? Because I mean, just seeing her on Saturday Night Live. Okay, it was one thing when she has 5 minutes in fucking Fast and Furious or something like that. Okay, that's one thing. But she was in a bunch of sketches. She does comedy well. Of course, she probably with. This is not really live TV. It's not as live as they say it is. But I'm just saying is if you get a director and an editor and the right camera angles, you got a right crew behind her, I'm pretty sure you can piece together a halfway decent movie around her performance, because she's not totally like stiff. Like whenever they have like football guys or something like that, or when Michael Jordan hosted Saturday Night Live, Michael Jordan looked like a guy in sports. He looked like an athlete trying to act. Right. Ronda Rousey was a bit more natural. You know what I'm saying? Like I think you could edit around her to the point where you could probably put together a more than halfway decent movie around her performance, and she would probably gain more confidence and stuff like that, and later on more movies. But I think we can have the female version of The Rock. We can have. I'm not fucking making Tooth Fairy movies. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can have her fucking doing some badass shit. So, I want to further implement, my campaign for Ronda Rousey as fucking Captain Marvel. Well, speaking of, let me see what else. Well, we spoke about WWE. Big news in the world of like stuff that we always talk about. Disney announcing that they're pushing back Episode 8 to December when
and
it
then
was
they're moving up Pirates to that date.
When they were initially planning.
Which is not a problem.
For May of 2017.
Now it's...
and I knew it. I had a feeling. I said, "There's no way they're going to have two movies." Like, okay, you have Rogue One in the middle of all that shit. But I was like, "There's no way they're gonna have another movie out in 2 years." I mean, they can, but it's to me it felt. I mean, of course, we're only talking like 6 months, but it blows my. I was like, "There's no way they were going to have it in May of 2017. No way."
And I thought. And for me, like, with that, and we'll talk about this briefly, it's Star Wars being in May, I kind of went, why? You just did, this movie is, I think it did better than all the other Star Wars movies.
It's the highest grossing movie, like, ever.
Almost. Well, no, I don't think it went over Avatar and Titanic.
It's top 5, okay? I mean,
yeah, it's in the top 5,
but movies never do good in December.
Right,
and they blew the fucking doors off.
And that's why this should stay. That's why this is a good move, because think about it. You had Episode 7 this past December. You have Rogue One coming up in December at the end of this year, 2016. At the end of 2017, you have another Star Wars movie, Episode 8. Okay,
yeah, and
now then you have the other Star Wars movie the next December. Do you see this pattern here?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Put them in December. And you're going to do gold. Now, I'm not saying that Rogue One is going to do as much as Episode 7.
No.
We're all if we think that, then we're all like probably smoking something.
Yeah.
I do think that it will probably do half of it.
I have a feeling it's going to be.
I see it
top 15 of all time.
I see it. I don't see it being like. I see it being like a Harry Potter film after, like the third Harry Potter. Like it's not like going to do like huge business. It's not going to do huge business, but it's going to do enough money. It's going to do the money that
where Disney's going to laugh. Disney's going to laugh all the way to the bank.
Right, exactly. So I mean, and will it break some records? Probably, but it's not going to. My expectations for that film are not going to be what Episode 7 just did. Mm-hmm. Episode 8 should do as good as what Episode 7 did, especially if we see a lot of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've set it up. Once, like I've said in the last episode, these movies they're smart enough to make these movies where they leave it open enough where you have to come back.
Right.
You can't just watch this movie and just sit back and go, okay, I'm done. No, you have to come back. So I think they've done enough where, and I don't want to say the movie is totally a commercial for Episode 8. That's no way, shape, or form. But you're anybody who. Anybody, any of the people who saw $1 billion or whatever, is gonna go fucking see Star Wars again. They're gonna see Episode 8 because you can't watch Episode 7 and just sit on your laurels and go, okay, that's it. So, and then plus, I mean, for a franchise that's based around selling toys. You know what I'm saying? Let's call a spade here. It's about selling. It's about merchandising. Why not go back to December where you can fucking fill the fucking Target shelves and Walmart shelves with the next fucking BB-8, the Chewbacca fucking stuffed animal. Yep. Even my daughter today, yesterday we went to Walmart. Like, they're looking at T-shirts and she knows Yoda and Darth Vader. She didn't know Chewbacca. She didn't know the Stormtrooper. Don't worry, I'm working on that. But but she knows Darth Vader and she knows Yoda. She looked at originally what caught her attention was BB-8. And I haven't even taken her to see the movie yet,
right?
Because I'm gonna wait a little while only because I want to go to a screening where there's nobody else in the theater because right. she gets bored and she wants to leave. But and
at least you've seen it now, so
yeah, and I've seen it twice, and I'll see it a third time with her. But I mean. It was no surprise that they pushed it back to December. Yeah. And actually, in my opinion, a smart move, especially the fact that, Disney said, fuck you, we're going to own December. Right. We're going to own your ass for the next we're going to own every December for the next 6 years. You know what I'm saying? Because Rogue One's going to do well. They're going to do a Han Solo movie. And now that they've, spoiler, and we talk about it, now that they've killed off Han Solo, you can do whatever you want in the Han Solo.
By the way, that's not a spoiler. It's made $1.9 billion.
Yeah,
if you haven't fucking seen it by now, then you're a fucking moron.
Yeah, and if you didn't listen to the last episode.
And if you haven't seen any fucking spoilers on it, then are you in the middle of the hills and do we need to send rescue?
Yeah, like, how do you have an internet connection? But I mean, especially now that they've killed off Han Solo, that's yet another reason for people wanting to go see the Han Solo movie because now it's like,
yeah, I think we
killed them off, but that's
gonna be after Episode 8.
It's basically like, okay, yeah, we killed him off, but we're still going to give you more of him. You know what I'm saying? And that does not necessarily negate Harrison Ford not being in it. You can't have Harrison Ford in the Han Solo movie. It would be in this next 30 years between Empire Strikes Back, and I'm just saying I'm the fanboy in me is hoping.
Yeah, I know he doesn't want to do anything.
He doesn't want it, but I'm just saying technically he could.
But here I hate to
shit on my parade.
No, I hate to give people hope, but think about it this way. Let's go one step further. If that Han Solo movie does well, you may end up seeing more.
We may have a Yoda movie. We may have a Yoda movie.
Nah, I don't think we're going to see a Yoda movie, so to speak. I would rather see, honestly,
Han Solo trilogy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like we could see a Han Solo trilogy. I could see that doing well. Mm-hmm. And trust me, it's Disney. If that first one does well, they probably will do more.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ones that they probably could do. They could do Boba Fett the same way. Mm-hmm. And then there's not just those two. If they decided to even go even further and do, like, for example, Mace Windu. Mm-hmm. Like, I think Mace Windu would be a great one to look at because looking at how that character became part of the Jedi Council, just taking one of those people mm-hmm. that was in that whole first trilogy it's the second trilogy because it was recorded after the originals, but that first trilogy, it would be interesting to see how he became a part of the Jedi. I think that would be a good idea. Like, and just to see
how
like fucking
how we got the
just,
purple
like,
lightsaber.
fucking, yeah, like just seeing like all that, because you never got to hear his story. You never got to hear his story, and I think that's something that we need to do. So, but I think it's time to wrap this up.
Yeah, okay, a couple just quick hits right here. Okay, we got the Oscars right on. We got the Super Bowl. We got the Super Bowl coming around the corner. I can't wait for the Super Bowl to just come and go because I'm sick and tired of listening to the radio and hearing people talk about football because I could give two shits. But it's, the Broncos versus the North Carolina Panthers.
The Carolina Panthers.
North, what did I say?
The North Carolina Panthers.
Isn't it? Or just the Panthers or whatever?
Carolina Panthers.
Carolina Panthers. Playing out in San Francisco. Let me see. The Oscars. Black actors are boycotting the Oscars. And, there was a joke on Saturday Night Live, which I kind of was saying also, is that, you say boycott, but you were never really invited. You know what I'm saying? Like Jada Pinkett Smith saying, I'm not going to go to the Oscars. Well, because it wasn't exactly like you were fucking invited. I mean, okay, maybe with her husband, because the husband was in that Concussion movie. Well, had he been, people felt that was an Oscar-worthy movie. Well, my thing is that, and allow me to switch gears for a quick second, is you know what? Fuck the Oscars. Fuck this outside validation bullshit. You know what I'm saying? The Oscars is an old established thing, and I think this is more fact than anything that the quote unquote Oscar Society are a bunch of old people, and let's be real here. Let's not mince words. A bunch of old white people.
Yeah, they are.
So they're not going. The black movies, unfortunately, don't really hit their radar. You know what I'm saying? Just 5-10 minutes ago, we're talking about Star Wars, like one of the highest grossing movies of all time. And of course, yes, there were 6 movies before it, and it had a bunch of lead-ins and all this other bullshit. But they may get a nomination for fucking like special effects. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not that money equals quality or profits equal quality, but
let's not take Star Wars as an example.
Well, let's try to bring it back to
here's okay. Look.
I'm talking about Star Wars because that's the stuff we talk about on this show.
I hate to say this, Chris, and you'll disagree with me, but Star Wars is not an Academy Award-winning movie. But I'm sorry to say that, but. This isn't Spider-Man 2 from the original trilogy, where it was the best rated film of the year, and it didn't even get a nod by the Oscars.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That started the conversation, by the way. Mm-hmm. What got the Oscars to change, and I still think it's the top 10. It's like 10 movies now, still for the best picture. Was The Dark Knight with Christian Bale and
Heath Ledger.
So you got to understand something. You got movies that started to change the conversation. Mm-hmm. Okay, those ones changed the conversation in one way. Mm-hmm. Well, we have a movie over here called Concussion that starred Will Smith. Funny enough. He did a really good job in that movie. Mm-hmm. Never got nominated. Mm-hmm. Well, he got nominated in the Golden Globes, yeah. But he didn't get an Oscar now. And yes, that right there is a fucking travesty. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you something. Like, one of the issues is, and we really got to bring this to an end here. Yeah. But one of the issues is, and I think a lot of people don't understand this, is it's not some kind of racist problem. What happens is these movies right at the end of the year slide in. Mm-hmm. Trust me, I work in the industry, in the movie theater industry. They put these movies. What they do is they play these movies in L.A. and New York.
Just
like like on the 25th,
the bare minimum, so
right, they can... just before the first of the next year, and that qualifies them for that year's Oscars. Mm-hmm. So all these good movies come right in, and they steal the thunder of some of these other movies. And that's what the good
movies that have been around for the longer part of the year.
Exactly.
But the newer movies are fresher in the reviewers' minds, the society's minds.
Exactly, and that's part of the problem. That's one of the main issues, is these movies shouldn't be able to sneak in underneath the radar like they do. Mm-hmm. If you want your movie to be part of it, it should be a minimum in the theaters for a month. Mm-hmm. All theaters, nationwide, not just LA and New York. It should be in all theaters. Because here's the thing. Revenant? Mm-hmm. I get that fucking, oh my God, because so many people pronounce that wrong. And I'm going to end on this note. Think about this, for example. That movie did not come out until, I believe it was January 8th, nationwide. Mm-hmm. Nationwide. But because it was in New York and LA on December 25th, it qualified. Not saying that Leonardo DiCaprio, which that's another conversation for another day, that man deserves a fucking Best Actor award already. You know, not saying that, I mean, you want to talk about discrimination. That fucking man has been passed over so many fucking times. I get it, he is white. But think about that for a second. You're complaining about that black movies are not getting nominated and they're not getting the treatment that they deserve.
And here's a guy putting out movie after movie after movie who should have gotten some sort of
Catch Me If You Can,
Wolf of Wall Street,
Aviator, dude, Leonardo
and different characters. You know what I'm saying? Wolf of Wall Street was a different character than The Revenant.
And here's another thing too: black actors, when he was doing this, when he was nominated in those categories, there were black actors that actually won over him. You know, and I don't think people think about that. People don't think about those things. And look, I'm not trying to be racist here. I'm just trying to start a conversation that we naturally need to have. We're all Americans, okay? Me talking about one group of Americans, whether it's different than mine. I'm Italian though, so I should be considered black, but whatever. You know, whether or not it's, you know, I'm talking about another race, it shouldn't be considered racism because we should be able to have an open conversation and not not like a group of, you know, 5 black men waiting for me to say something derogatory and then I get jumped. You know, we should be able to have the conversation because we're all Americans. And that's the point, you know? I'm sure you agree with me. I should be able to have a conversation, Chris, and not worry that I'm being too racist because I'm not trying to be racist. I'm trying to start a conversation. You know, white people came here from overseas. We had to do a lot of shit. We did some really bad shit. Okay. Not just the black people, but the fucking Indians. Okay. You got to think about them too. You don't think about Indians.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, black people make this whole problem about it. You want to talk about a problem?
Because there aren't that many Indians around.
Fucking Indians. Like, do you understand what our fucking ancestors did to these people? Like, you think that slavery was bad. How about slaughtering almost a whole race? Like, we almost slaughtered a whole race, Chris. Like,
to a point that they need to be kept on reservations.
I'm not saying that slavery was good. It wasn't. But for us to fucking almost obliterate a whole fucking race, like, I feel bad. Like, I feel bad about that. That shouldn't have happened. Like, that was just way. And and Indians were used as slaves too. Like, it's, you know, like, I mean, I would love to have like an Indian person and a black person in a room the same together, and then a black person starts saying that, oh, white people are racist. And, you know, look at them and be like, you don't know what racism is. My whole race almost got wiped out because of these people.
The show was going so good until it took that racist turn. Yeah, no, but okay. Okay. All right, so just back to the nerdy news once again. Super duper quick. The Suicide Squad trailer looks good. It's the best one so far. Yeah. Unfortunately, I caught that trailer because my friend posted in my face on my timeline, so I watched it before I had a chance to save it for this show. But it looks fucking fantastic. And when Margot Robbie bends over to grab the fucking purse, nice. I actually got a chance to watch Pixels and Fantastic Four. I read box rented them. Fantastic Four wasn't as bad as people said it was. It's not bad. It was okay. And Pixels was. It kills me that Pixels had such good special effects. I mean, you know, the art, the people who were responsible for the special effects for that movie, it was spot on. It was absolutely beautiful. That movie was so fucking gorgeous, and it's such a shame that it got handed over to fucking, you know, Adam Sandler and his fucking crew, where Kevin James plays a fucking illiterate president, and Josh Gad, who's an incredibly hilarious comedic actor, ends up fucking Kubert, you know what I'm saying, and even Peter Dinklage, once again a brilliant actor doing a very, very funny role, playing, you know, like a weird sort of like redneck kind of, you know, real, you know, shit talking kind of guy who turns out, you know, he's a real scumbag or whatever, you know, interesting character, but it just was ruined by like the Adam Sandler crew. I mean, you know, had you put 2 other actors in that movie that weren't, you know, Adam Sandler and Kevin James, you know, and it didn't have the Adam Sandler fucking stink on it, it would have been a lot better. Even before we're watching this movie, the kids are upstairs watching Hotel Transylvania 2, which was okay. That movie you would think would have the Adam Sandler stink on it, but it wasn't because it was written by Robert Smigel, aka the guy who plays Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. So it had the Adam Sandler stink on it, but the special effects were so fucking good, and it kills me that because of that we're probably not going to have another video game movie for a long time. Unfortunately, Wreck-It Ralph and Pixels kind of dropped the ball, both of them, and they should have whatever. So, and then also rumored, and I just want to bring it up because we haven't spoken about it yet. They're bringing back Voltron, and it's coming to Netflix. So, of course, I'm pretty sure you would love to have that on Toonami, but just...
What is it?
Voltron.
Oh, yeah.
Voltron. Voltron is coming back, and it's coming to Netflix. Unfortunately, it would have been nice if it was on Toonami, but, I hope they don't fuck that up. I'm very curious to see how it's going to be. But I would actually need to watch Netflix. I would actually have to have Netflix. I'd have to have Wi-Fi to actually watch the show.
Right.
All right, so we're recording. You want to watch some trailers, Paul?
No, I want to get a blowjob.
Well, we can do that after we watch the trailers. So
don't tell Kelsey.
Let's go. Let's go to the. I just sort of what I'm going to do is we're going to watch. There's a movie. Okay, unfortunately, it's 2016. We've lost a lot of celebrities. One of them being Alan Rickman. I was looking for trailers to watch. And then I go and it turns out Alan Rickman has another movie in the can, as they say, called Eye in the Sky. Haven't seen it. This is the first time I'm watching it, but it says, this is on YouTube, Eye in the Sky official trailer with Alan Rickman, Helen Mirren, and Aaron Paul, which is the guy from...
My name is Alan Rickman.
Hello. Perhaps.
And I want you to...
Harry, I loved your mother.
I want you to come on my face.
So here we go with Eye in the Sky, which sounds like some sort of sounds like a spy movie or something. Yeah, here we go. And Aaron Paul, which is a kid from Breaking Bad.
This is Colonel Powell.
Okay.
She's going to walk you through the capture of Aisha Al-Hadi, a.k.a.
Okay,
Susan
so
Danforth.
here we go. International Command HQ. So these are supposed to be some sort of English, British operatives looking up Muslim terrorists. Okay. Wasn't Helen Mirren in a movie with... Oh, shit. They have a flying... like a hummingbird with a camera? Is that real?
Your job is to be the eye in the sky.
Okay, so here we go. It's a movie about drones. But why is there a British woman, giving... Oh, God. A guy flying a drone with like a PS... You remember they had the PSP, but it was like on a cell phone?
Yeah.
So, oh, come on with this bullshit. So, now apparently there's only in the movies that have like some flying bee thing that looks like has like incredibly detailed video.
Strike a target with considerable accuracy.
What movie is this that they have all these British people that are in charge? But then like it's American drones. Does England have drones? So,
welcome to hell.
I mean, no offense, nothing against people from Britain or anything like that, but and they have, there's military people there with American flags. Oh, and Aaron Paul's having second thoughts because he sees that there's like a kid like hula hooping in the backyard of the same building that the terrorists are building bombs.
There's a lot more at stake than you see in this image.
Okay, well, that's what you call a what do they call that when in war? Casualty of war. Yeah, look, you're gonna have to kill a couple of kids if you're gonna take out.
No one wants to take responsibility for pulling the trigger.
Yeah, and I'm all for this. I'm all for.
We need a decision.
I mean, if a terrorist has a kid, sorry, the kid's gotta go. You shouldn't have decided to blow up the fucking planet. Okay, Eye in the Sky. So there we go. Alan Rickman, Helen Mirren, Aaron Paul. And I heard, like, if you look up Helen Mirren, like, back when she was younger, she used to be, like, really hot and had big tits.
Jesus Christ. It's always got to be hot and big tits with you.
Yeah, what's right? Okay, so here we go. Now we're going to do another one. Now, because we're going to end up doing, I want to save the best for last, or what I'm assuming is the best for last, because for people who don't watch the podcast, this is basically, I don't have Wi-Fi in my house, so I go and I watch these trailers when I come to Paul's house. So we're going to end up with the Key and Peele movie, Keanu. But while Keanu came up on the YouTube search, I guess he has his own movie called Exposed, coming out in 2016 with Mira Sorvino and Ana de Armas. And here we go. Okay, there's some chick walking in a tunnel. Oh, subway station. She's hot. She's got a big head. And there's a guy with a knife in his back getting almost hit by a train. 191st Street. Yeah, there's that many white people on 191st Street in Manhattan.
Just tell us. We're gonna find the suckers who did this. Mark my words.
So Keanu. Oh shit, that's the Projects.
Dirt caught up with him.
Okay.
It was your partner.
It's funny when I watch New York movies and I'm like, what's that? But, okay, that looks like the Bronx.
Joey's name tarnished, okay? You owe him that
So,
much.
with Mira Sorvino playing like a very New York accent.
They had me down at the police station the other day about some cop that got murdered.
Yeah, that looks like the projects I used to live in.
Yeah.
When I first met my wife, we moved into her grandmother's apartment. Okay, so the Morrisania Projects up on 169th Street and 3rd Avenue.
There's this girl. She knows what happened.
So I love how they find these beautifully clear pictures of people. Like in,
your partner was not a good guy. We're dropping the investigation.
You know, like they look at cameras that were done in the subway, and it's like this beautifully framed picture of a girl's face.
My house, telling you that you're not going to go after his killer.
At the very least, like make it like a cell phone photo or something like that. 'Cause then it makes sense. So it's Keanu Reeves in the Projects, chasing a white girl, in the ghetto that experienced a crime. Oh, but the bad guy's a black guy. I mean, come on. Come on. Fuck this bullshit. Okay, Big Daddy. That was Big Daddy Kane. Okay. All right. So, from two movies I could give two shits about, now to the now from two movies that I could give two shits about, now to the Key and Peele. And I like what I've always liked about Key and Peele is the fact that they're even though they do sketch comedy, the stuff they film looks like movies. You know, like they obviously they've always wanted to do a movie, and now they finally have a chance. So here we go. This is the Red Band trailer for the Key and Peele movie. And I hope we don't have.
How are you? How you doing?
God, he has smoking a bong and
Are you
shit.
okay? Daisy broke up with me.
So is this like? Is it going to be like different sketches in the movie? Okay. He opens the door and there's a cat.
It's gonna be okay. You're right, Clarence. I want you to meet Keanu.
Okay. Oh.
No.
They have a cat named Keanu.
That's the
Okay.
cutest cat I've ever seen in my life.
Why's your door open?
Keanu.
No, God.
I'm sorry.
So is this going to be like one big sketch of them trying to find the cats?
What's up, bro? I'm here because my place got broken into. Does anyone shady come by here?
I'm so tired of I'm so tired of Will Forte.
17th Street Flips. Okay, where are they?
17th Street.
Let's just go check it out. What's the worst that can happen?
Cornrows
One beer,
and-
please. I'll take a white wine spritzer. Clarence. What? You can't talk like that here. Then we really are in trouble because you sound like John Riddle all the time.
Well, I beg to differ, nigga.
Went straight to the end.
You niggas in the right place?
Yeah, we're in the right place, nigga.
Why does the cat have a fucking head rag on?
The fuck?
Oh shit. Okay, now we're talking.
We just feed him some bullshit about New Jack City. We get the out.
Say some shit about New Jack City.
I said people were here before.
So apparently they're going to be a big giant killing scene at the end of the movie.
Where are you?
So apparently coke dealers are stealing kittens now.
Why are you talking to me like that?
I talk like that sometimes.
Why you drive this weak ass van? You want to never get pulled over again? You drive an inconspicuous family vehicle.
No, dang.
All right, so. Aww. The kittens grow up so fast. They had a couple cats for this movie.
Kitty. See what we got here. What the fuck is this?
Oh shit.
Oh shit, nigga. This is my shit right here.
That's in so many trailers. Alright, so there's still a little bit more, but that's the end of the actual official trailer. So we thank you guys for watching Eye in the Sky, Exposed, and the Keanu Red Band trailer. So, okay, let's wrap it up.
That's what she
said. Okay, you can visit twostrangersonepodcast.net where you can find all things show related. You can find links to our iTunes page where you can go back and listen to 3 years worth of, not every single episode, but you can go back and listen to 2 to 3 years worth of episodes of Two Strangers, One Podcast. If you don't have an iPhone, an iPad, or an iPod, you could find us on the Stitcher app. That's STITCHER, the Stitcher app for Android devices. So that's how I listen. That's how I listen to podcasts. You know, I listen to Kevin Smith stuff, Chris Hardwick. You know, there's a whole bunch of podcasts you can follow. And of course, Paul's other baby, the Tsunami Faithful podcast, is on Stitcher. What I do is I put it on the listen later option. And then I make sure it's in offline mode. So basically it downloads the episodes to your phone. So if you're not in a Wi-Fi spot, you're not killing your data plan, you're not killing the battery on your phone, you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to tons of podcasts and not even put a dent in your battery life. So that's what I do. And I not that I don't have anything against iTunes. I have an Android device, so I tend to use Stitcher, and it's an incredible fucking product, and I love Stitcher very, very much. And if you want to follow us on Facebook, we're on facebook.com/twostrangersonepodcast. That's all spelled out, Two Strangers One Podcast. It just takes 2 seconds to share and like our show. You know, and we have been getting some new likes and some new favorites, and you know, and I love it because it turns out the people that tend to be engaging in the show are people from around the world. Let me see, as I'm bringing it up right here. But once again, of course, we want your money. We need your money. But if you don't have any money to give to us, you can share and like us on the page. And unfortunately, the computer is going real slow. But we've been getting our episodes have been getting liked and shared and stuff like that. So please keep that up. Please. So all the wonderful people,
keep it up. Yeah.
Keep it up, 25 inches worth. So you can write to us, and right before it blows my mind that people haven't been writing to us. You know, after Oscar fucking fell off the face of the earth, something happened, and he just stopped. He stopped. I don't know. I hope he's all right. But you can write to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. That's twostrangersonepodcast.
Really pissed his ass off.
I think no. It was after that. It was after that earthquake in. It was after that earthquake in.
Well, he could have just lost his internet connection, maybe.
What's I can't believe I forgot the name of it. Whatever. Sorry, Oscar. We miss you. Write us. And you can follow us on Twitter at Stranger Podcast. That's the @ symbol, Stranger Podcast. And of course, it would really help me out. It would do me so. It would be such a great favor if you could go to YouTube and search for Two Strangers One Podcast and subscribe. We've gotten a few subscribers recently, but we could always use more. I need at least 100 so I can actually change the channel name to Two Strangers One Podcast. But if you can do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. I've been putting out stranger vlogs. I've been taking the old episodes, putting up. So the episodes that you won't find on iTunes or on Stitcher, you will find on YouTube. You know, I packaged them up as videos, and then every 4 videos or so, I put out what I call a stranger vlog. It was the last one I did was called Bars Are Bullshit. I've done my, Star Wars The Force Awakens reaction, actually watching it. I said the Star Wars doesn't suck the second time around. I've done one called Just Change the Oil, which I think is the one that's got the most views. You can see me at Comic-Con, all my stranger vlogs, and I've been doing them for a year now, because it was this time last year when I started, where the first one was called So I Got a Raise. My next one is going to be So I Got a Raise Part 2. Which I did get a raise. So, if you could subscribe to us, even if you don't even use YouTube, if you could subscribe to us, That would be super fucking cool. And it would help. Once I get my subscription numbers up, then I can actually change the name of the channel to Two Strangers One Podcast. And that's about it. I acquiesce the floor to you, sir.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Paul Pascrillo. You can go to my Instagram. It's instagram.com/PaulPascrillo. I will be posting more stuff, hopefully. And you can ask me questions, ask.fm/Paul Pascrillo. So, and make sure you visit geekyinc.com. The podcast is there, our podcast, and also more nerdy stuff that I know you guys will love to watch. So, and listen to.
And check out Geeky Inc. GeekeEinc. Paul's geekyinc.com for all of Paul's other side projects. Well, we certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening and had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye. You should be fapping.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read it?
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I got to meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
yeah,
man.
Is.
Look at her. Fucking, she's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information Chris Cologne like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.